might be feeling called to bring in something new, to learn a new skill, and or it's a time where you might be tested a little bit. Like, are you going to do something new and get out of that comfort zone and reach for the North Node, or are you going to fall back into those habitual behaviors of the South Node? So that's the crossroads.
This sounds so interesting. So there's like a whole picture, it's like a lunar family with the nodes. I love it. Like all the phases of the nodes, how they hit you. That sounds excellent. Interesting. I have a question. So I know you mentioned when we chatted before that you want to talk about how to see past lives. So tell us, how can people? What is the connection? What is the connection?
Yeah, so I want to talk to everyone about the nodes through the signs, because I think you'll really be able to see like that connection come to life. But basically, the South Node that speaks to our karma and what we've come into this life with, like kind of like the baggage, so to speak, comes. Like it has a lot to do with our past lives. So if you were, whatever life you led during your past life, is kind of your South Node speaks to that. It speaks to who you were, what your story was, and parts of ourselves that we've come into this life with, that we've carried with us, that we don't even realize. It's kind of like locked away in a sense, and like a subconscious, because it speaks to like the habitual patterns and the tendencies.
So I know that there's always a question, even in synastries or something, if the node touches somebody else's node, did you know him from past life or something? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I definitely feel like the nodes speak to they can speak to people that we have that we've known throughout our entire that our souls are connected to in some sort of way, for sure. So that we've spent time together before in past life, or that they've somehow shaped us in, in some way, and there might be like this connection there, where there's some people that continue to cross each other's paths in different lives. And I'm not a evolutionary astrologer, but I do find the nodes extremely fascinating, and I deeply resonate with mine and my story. So.
Awesome. So will you share what are yours, or if you don't have to. I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, I definitely will. But I do want to take everybody through the nodes, through all of the signs. So maybe I can start with Aries, and then that way, like if people have, like they can hear about their story and see if they form a connection with their North Node or their South Node, or even the past life story.
Awesome. Go ahead, please. I'm so curious. Please go ahead.
Okay. So if your North Node is in Aries, that means your South Node is in Libra. And so I guess actually, sorry, before I start there, I want to talk about, just mention, the nodes are on an axis. And my mentor, Celeste, calls the nodal axis the axis of natal talent and evolutionary growth. So I'll start there. So if your North Node is in Aries, your South Node is in Libra, and this is the axis of relationships. So Aries has to do with the relationship with the South, and Libra having to do with relationships with other people. So if your North Node is in Aries, in a past life, you were the person behind the scenes supporting other people, South Node and Libra. So you know how they say behind every successful man, there's a strong woman? Well, in a past life, Aries North Node people were the strong woman. So these were the assistants and the counselors and anyone who was in a supporting role building up the main character. So everything was centered around making sure their partner succeeded
I love
and
that.
yeah,
So
and
in this
keeping their
world,
partner content.
so in this world, they have to do the opposite. Is that's the point, right?
Yes, exactly, exactly. So because Aries North Node people spent so much time worrying about other people and being sensitive to the needs of others, they gave up on their own needs. So yes, exactly. What people who have North Node and Aries came here to learn in this life is how to be independent. So because they've spent so many past lives nurturing other people, now it's time, for them to nurture themselves and practice self-care. Um, and there's going to be, a story around North Node and Aries people learning how to let go of some of those South Node and Libra themes that they naturally gravitate toward, like people pleasing, um, and not wanting maybe to ruffle any feathers, being very codependent. So you were saying that I think this is your nodal access,
It's
right? Oh, no,
mine is
yours
opposite.
is the
Yeah,
reverse.
yeah.
Okay. Um, so yeah, so to speak to the reverse, if your North Node is in the opposite sign of Libra, like yours is, then you might default more to Aries-like tendencies. um, so because in a past life, you were someone who was considered to be a warrior. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you had to literally be on the battlefield. You could have been, but what it means is that you had to fight for everything that you got. So these are the people who had to scratch and claw their way to the top, always looking ahead and not worrying about anyone else around them. Sometimes people with North Node and Libra can have like a me versus you mentality, and they're very independent. My daughter also has this this her North Node is in Libra, and she's a fighter.
Yeah,
not
yeah. I have to just add, my husband always tells me, "You are not alone. Let me help you." You
yes,
know.
yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, I always have to tell her, like, not everyone is out to get you. You don't always have to be so combative, because, there's just that default to that. It can be like sometimes self-centeredness. So maybe, I don't know, you can speak to this more, but one of the things that I'm working with her on is to learn how to share and be collaborative and, try to find win-win
Yeah,
solutions.
that's why, to be honest, Ashley, that's why I'm doing all these lives, because I want to feature other astrologers. This is my way, my doing my North Node, and it took me over 40 years to realize how to, don't I don't have to lose myself if I, collaborate with others. Which was I was thinking that if I collaborate, I'm going to lose myself in relationships, friendships, whatever I was doing. So that was my kind of learning curve through life. Yeah, astrology
Yeah,
helps to understand that. Yeah,
it
for sure.
yeah, it definitely is a huge eye opener into into the psychology. But that's so wonderful that you were able to acknowledge and hone in on that, and then now you are striving to reach toward that North Node in Libra, being more collaborative and working to maybe build harmony with people.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah.
It's progress. Okay, go
Um,
on with others. Okay.
Okay, so moving on to the Taurus Scorpio axis. So this is the axis of pleasure, power, and resources. So if your North Node is in Taurus, then by default your South Node is in Scorpio. So again, uh, Taurus North Node means that in a past life, there was someone you were bonded to who was in a position of power. And North Node and Taurus use all of their resources to support this person. So these were the people who were like the advisors to the chief or the confidant to the general. It was like the right-hand man. And as a reward for being the right-hand man, Taurus North Node people were given everything they desired. So material wealth, validation and acceptance, and sexual pleasure, South Node and Scorpio. But they never learned how to earn their own way with their own talents. So in this lifetime, Taurus North Node people have come here to learn how to develop healthy attachments. So there can be a lot of power struggles and intense relationships with Scorpio North Node or South Node, excuse me. And so they have to grow their awareness of boundaries. And a lot of times they also look for other people to validate their worth. And so they have to learn to develop a sense of self-worth and really strive to reach toward those Taurus topics. So like getting out in nature can be very helpful, and just really learning to enjoy the simple pleasures in life.
Yeah.
And
I'm thinking always about quality over quantity for Taurus. I would, they need to go towards that, right?
yes, 100%, exactly. Not wanting, like, it's not about how much material or how many items that you can bring in, but what is the bigger picture, or maybe even like what is, what feeling do you get
And the value.
from the
The value,
value? Yeah.
Taurus. Yeah, the Venus. Like, what is the value? Like this, maybe this one thing is more valuable than having hundred of things that are not as valuable, right? In that sense, right?
Yep.
That's what I feel about Taurus.
Yes,
Cool.
100%. And that is exactly what, on the flip side, if you've got your North Node in Scorpio, then your South Node is in Taurus, and you might default to that, what we were just speaking to, accumulating items. So if your North Node is in Scorpio, then you came to this life with predetermined ideas about what you need to do to feel good about yourself. And so they can sometimes hyper focus on like what they can do to build comfort and security for themselves. So in a past life, Scorpio North Node people were very hard workers. So these were the farmers and the landholders and the builders. And their survival literally depended on them being self-sufficient and forging their own way to create what they deemed as valuable. That was a perfect word. And they validated their worth with their material possessions. So in this life, people with North Node and Scorpio may feel like they need possessions and things to make them feel comfortable. And they also sometimes feel like they need money and material items in order to be able to relate to other people. And because their past lives they had to work so hard to provide and also to be the providers, they had to suppress any like psychological needs, and so they could only stay focused on the physical task at hand. So
Yeah.
really, sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying they might struggle with intimacy in that sense, right? It's all about, that emotional bond, emotional thing. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so what they've come here to do in this life is really they have to learn how to get out of that loop and develop change. And they like figure out how to be okay with doing things differently, finding a different way to do things. So Taurus energy can sometimes move very slow, and they can sometimes get stuck. So North Node in Scorpio is really calling you to find a way to release that stagnation, um, And also Taurus can be very stubborn. So to also not be so stubborn that, you can't be open to try new ideas rather than just repeatedly doing things the same way.
Yeah, I'm thinking everybody who has a south node in the first six signs of themselves, they need to learn to do with others, right? This is also about, Scorpio, share resources, share stuff, so, and vice
Mhm.
versa. People who are south node with other six, the last six signs, they need to be more independent and on their own, not dependable on others. So in general, I'm just this thought
Yeah.
occurred to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good point. And that kind of can be viewed a little bit in reflection of the natal axis, because the first six houses speak to the self, but you kind of have to, I feel like everybody learns through relationships. That's how you learn the most about yourself and about other people and how you tick. Um, so it's kind of like a catch 22 in a way. Like they're here to learn about themselves, but maybe you learn about yourself through other people.
I
Um,
want to thank everybody for support and for commenting, and thank you, Celeste. Thank you, Meg. I'm sorry, this is not my usual settings. I apologize, but please actually go ahead. This what you're saying is so interesting, and I'm all tuned in. What is next?
oh, okay. Okay. Um, yeah, or yeah. If there are comments, I don't know if you can see them. Like if you want to
There's
read them,
just
that person would be fine with
Celeste.
me.
Yeah, Celeste said loving the carnival. Thank you, Celeste. And then Joe said, yay, astrology.
Ah,
He's excited. And Meg said that she's currently going through square to her natal north node. So good luck, Meg. You can do it.
yes, yes. um, so let's see. Oh yes, so we're on Gemini and Sagittarius. So this is the axis of knowledge. So Gemini, is about a lot about the facts. Um, and Sagittarius is about kind of like the philosophy. So Gemini wants all the information. They want to know all the facts, whereas Sagittarius can take the information and sometimes form their own theory. So if you were born with North Node in Gemini, my husband has this placement, and
My son. And my son. So
your
let's see.
son too. So maybe you can relate, hopefully, to what I might say. Um, but I'm not going to say anything bad, but he knows what he has to work on.
No, he's only 3. So I'm not even, he's only 3. He has time to
Oh, your
learn.
son is 3. Okay. So, but yeah, so they've spent many past lives seeking truth and trying to figure out and learn the deeper meaning of things, like the philosophy, South Node and Sagittarius. So in a past life, North Node and Gemini people, um, they left the collective behind and went out on their own on a journey to discover like how different things worked and what made them tick. And they found everything out that they wanted to know. And then when they came back and integrated with society, they were the wise men. So they became the philosophers and the priests and the people who spoke, and other people naturally listened and followed their instruction. So in this life, people with North Node and Gemini can sometimes have trouble communicating because they speak and sometimes just expect people to listen to them. So they can also think their way is always the right way because they've spent so many lifetimes being the person that, people sought advice from. So the nature of a conversation that consists of back and forth dialogue where, each person shares and exchanges information may need development.
I'm, just,
And they have.
I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. I'm just thinking how life, see how how we choose our parents. And so my son with a north node in in Gemini chose both of his parents with Gemini sons, and I have a Gemini moon and Mercury, and my husband has a Gemini Mercury and whatever. So I'm just saying it's interesting how he chose us maybe to learn better how to
Yeah.
communicate, right?
Yes,
It's interesting.
yes, it's so interesting, 100%. And I was thinking about my family as well. And so I'm a Cancer sun rising. I have a big fat Cancer stellium in the first house. And my one of my children has North Node in Cancer, and one of my children has North Node in Capricorn, South Node in Cancer. So I think too, I'm here to help teach them about, how to show and express their emotions and that kind of thing. Give more nurturing to the one with
Isn't that
South
beautiful?
Node Capricorn.
Sorry,
Yeah.
isn't it beautiful that you know as a parent how can you help and assist your child when you know astrology? I think that is such a gift.
Yes,
It's beautiful,
I
isn't it?
totally agree. Yeah, it's really amazing. Yeah, it's really helpful as a parent. Some astrologers I've heard say like don't look at their children's chart, or they advise we shouldn't look at our kids' chart. But I feel like it's 100% necessary because it's
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah. No, you don't have to look at I don't look far
Like
like
transit.
yeah, like what's going to happen in the future. I'm just looking at his chart to see who he is, to understand him and to help him cope better, right? So that's the only way. How he thinks. Like I look at Moon, Mercury nodes, you know, just the way he. So anyway, please go
Yep.
ahead, and we didn't finish the Sagittarius note. I don't want them to be mad at us. So please finish them.
Oh,
It is a Sag season after all. We don't want to get them mad.
that. We're taking and running with our philosophy. But no, yeah, so what North Node and Gemini people came here to learn is really like how to listen and listen intently. And how to develop like a communication practice in which they ask questions to learn how other people think rather than just maybe assuming they already know. And so on the flip side, people who were born with North Node in Sagittarius have their South Node in Gemini, and it's completely opposite. They've spent their past lives learning to understand how people think. So they can be very good communicators because they understand multiple perspectives. So these were the teachers. The teachers have to be able to give the information in a way the student can accept. And these were the sales people, like learning how to appeal to what the customer wants. But one of the areas where North Node and Sagittarius people tend to struggle is feeling like they have to have all the facts. So these are the people that ask why, and they never feel like they have enough information. So what they've come here to learn in this life is how to develop a deeper trust of their intuition and not feel like they need to have every detail to form their own opinion.
Do you feel that they need also to get maybe from logic, maybe more into faith as well?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
From
100%. Yeah. And yeah, and I feel that sometimes they have to realize that they have enough information. Now it's time to, you know, form your own like philosophy or yeah, just lean into what feels natural. I feel like they have to lean more into their intuition, and they've got to find a way to quiet the mind because the mind can just take over.
awesome. Yeah, let's go Cancer and Capricorn. This one so please
Yeah,
go.
this is my access now. Moving, yeah, so Cancer and Capricorn. So this is the axis of legacy. So Cancer is home, family, foundations, and your legacy with your family. And Capricorn, you can think about your reputation, like your career, your reputation out in the world, and how others view you. So if you were born into this life with your North Node in Cancer, um, it can, your past life can suggest two things. One is that you were taught from a very early age in your past life that it's not okay to show emotions. Um, and you were probably trained to repress, your feelings and your needs and desires. So these were the people in past lives who were raised in very strong religious households or monasteries, somewhere where they were like had to conform and weren't allowed to like show that emotion. And it could also suggest in a past life that they held a position of public authority and prestige. So these were like the politicians and the grand dukes, and they managed other people and were held to this high level of respect. So in this life, people with North Node in Cancer may have a need to control everything and everybody. They hide their feelings, and they can appear to have up like this hard wall because, again, in a past life, they were punished for showing emotion. So they've really come here to learn how to develop empathy and how to genuinely like put themselves in other people's shoes to learn how to nurture and support others in like a kind
Yeah,
way.
yeah. I'm thinking, the Capricorn energy can be, this is emotions are not important, nurturing is not important. We have to focus and just do this, and we have a goal, and just persist, doing this, and just moving attention from that the goal is not maybe the main thing in this life, and just show some care on the way to achievement, right? So the way you come
Exactly.
to the goal, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
hear you. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly. Like it's not that if you can't reach the goal if you show feeling or emotion or care. It's like you just said, on the way there, it's okay to be kind or
Yeah,
um,
having a different approach, yeah, and understanding that you can, yeah, it's hard. These nodes are really hard, guys, for everyone. To get out of your south node to the north node, it is hard because it's just not comfortable. You don't understand it.
mhm.
You have to learn it. So learn different approach. Yeah, for sure.
Yep, it's uncomfortable. Um, and if you were born with reverse, so North Node in Capricorn, then the opposite. You were probably pretty like privy to the traditional roles within the family, um, but you're not used to being out on your own because in a past life, the family took care of all the needs. So I look at this as the spoiled children who got waited on hand and foot, and they never had to learn to do anything for themselves, and they just kind of got everything in their lives handed to them.
I have to give you an example. I just had a client recently. So she has a north node in Capricorn and south node in Cancer, and um and she has 4 kids. She doesn't work. She's a stay-at-home mom, and and I was like, did you ever have a career? Did you ever want to do something and be? And she's struggling, and they're actually in the fourth and the 10th house. So the north node
Oh
is in the
wow!
10th house in Capricorn, right? And
Yeah,
she just she didn't understand what I was trying to tell her. Like, we talked about it. She was at the end. I'm just saying it was very hard for her to move from her south node in this life. Uh,
yeah.
right?
And it's very hard, and for
Yeah.
her because her nodes are in those houses too that kind of represent that they embody that energy fully. That's a big part of her soul's lesson and journey in this life. But it's hard because you just think about, like, this is a perfect example of how the past life affects us in this life. In a past life, I didn't have to do anything. So in this life, if North Node in Capricorn never learned how to be responsible, really, like to have responsibility and how to stand on their own 2 feet. So in this life, North Node in
Yeah,
Capricorn.
it's a hard lesson. Yeah, so she has to learn responsibility, but she's lost. Like, I was talking to her, and she was like, but I love being a mom, of course,
Yeah.
because it's natural to her, right? But the thing is, I sometimes feel that the harder it is, the people we meet in this life that challenge us, they actually are helping us to move towards our North Node.
Yeah.
Because if she has a husband who is supporting her and she just lives in her South Node because she has that kind of environment, then why would
Mm-hmm.
she even strive to go there, right? So I'm just
Right,
saying,
exactly.
sometimes you feel that, oh, why I'm this person, blah blah blah. You meet somebody in your life and you feel frustrated, but maybe they're just helping you to actually go towards your North Node and your path. Just a thought.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And she's seeing an astrologer, so she wants to get help and she wants to get out of this, maybe the stuckness that she feels by her South Node.
Yeah, she was very emotional at the end. So anyway, but I'm just saying it's funny how it comes to, for somebody it comes when we are very young. For some people it comes when we are a little bit older. It depends which stage of life we come and seek, and we're looking for to do our North Node.
Hmm.
Yeah, we at the end we want to do it. I feel like we feel we need to, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as we get older, I feel like we feel that push more to move toward, like, um my mentor Celeste says that around your 30s is when you start to really feel that push towards your North Node. So we might not feel it when we're younger, but yeah, maybe through experiences and things,
I
uh,
agree. Smart
we get
Celeste.
there.
I love Celeste.
Yeah,
She's so
yeah.
smart. Okay, so we have two more. Let's finish two more
Yeah,
before six.
so we've got my nodal axis is next, Leo and Aquarius. Um, so my North Node is in Aquarius and my South Node is in Leo. And this is the axis of the audience. So it will, yeah, Leo is the, like, creative energy, often like seeking attention, or even just a lot of times attention finds Leo. They're not always just attention seeking, but attention might always seem to just find Leo. And um, Aquarius is concerned with the audience as the community or the collective. So I'll start with Leo. If your North Node is in Leo, you've spent many past lives on the sidelines watching other people and somehow approaching your interactions with people like from a place of objectivity. So these were the scientists and the observers. And in a past life, they sacrificed themselves in some way for the betterment of the community. And in doing so, they've isolated themselves and they've kind of somehow lost touch with, like, their inner child. So in this lifetime, North Node in Leo may feel like they don't fit in, or they may feel like they've never been able to shine their own light because then people won't like them for who they are. And they might feel like they'll be criticized. So in this lifetime, people with North Node and Leo are here to find the courage, Leo, to develop their individuality and learn how to like gain confidence and take center stage. So they're here to be seen. If your North Node is in Leo, you are here to be seen and to take risks and be creative. And also, there's a lot of joy within the sign of Leo. So to find joy and have fun while doing those things.
I, I, this reminds me of that saying, "Who dares wins." That's
Yeah.
that would be good.
Yes. I love that. So if your North Node is in Aquarius, then you default to South Node in Leo. And you may have this like constant need for approval. So my North Node is in Aquarius, and I know that I've always sought approval from my dad or maybe just like people who I maybe considered like role models or something like that in my life. And even now in my family, like as a mother and a wife, I'm always looking for that validation that I'm doing a great job, so to speak. And I've got a lot of cancer, like I mentioned earlier, so a lot of my stuff is around family. But in a past life, North Node and Aquarius people these were the queens and the kings or someone of royalty, or it could even have been like an entertainer, like a celebrity. And so they were accustomed to receiving applause and admiration. And so,
I
in
was
this
just
case,
I was just thinking, sorry, maybe that if it probably wasn't you, you were probably a queen. But I'm thinking about the king's fool, the guy who, you know.
yep, exactly.
Yeah,
um, and,
go ahead, go ahead.
but yeah, and they're still looking for that applause from the king's fool. And so because they've spent, so many lifetimes, I guess, looking for, uh, looking for that applause. Now they can be very people pleasing, and there can also be this desire to just fit in and kind of like go along with everyone else, with what everyone else is doing. So there's this balance that has to be found between learning how to be objective and considering the group, which is Aquarius, but also standing out and being an individual, which is also Aquarius. So just in my own life, when I decided that I was going to become an astrologer, I was really worried. It was a scary time because I was really concerned about how some of the people around me who I sought, validation from would view me or what they'd think. Because I've always been worried about making sure people approved of my choices. But learning about my North Node in Aquarius, that I'm here to be an individual and stand out from the crowd, gave me, I feel like, that confirmation that, I'm not here to follow. So if your North Node is in Aquarius, you're not here to follow. You're here to stand out and, again, be an individual. But for me, I feel like it's also while supporting the collective. And I feel like I do that through being an astrologer.
Absolutely, you help with it. I mean, Aquarius is astrology in my sense. I
Yeah,
see that. So you are helping with astrology, which is Northern Aquarius. Help other people, help community, help groups, who are less fortunate or who are in need of your services and of your knowledge, which is beautiful. I love it. I think you're doing a great thing. Awesome.
thank you.
See,
And
Celeste says you do help many people. Ah,
well,
it's
thank
so
you.
nice. See, you, yeah, there is validation, and I validate you as well as a peer.
Oh,
So,
you guys are stroking my ego.
well,
My
you're my
South
guest.
Node ego.
You're my guest. I can do that. I'm entitled to do that. As you're my guest.
Thank you. Thank
No, you're
you.
welcome.
Um, but
Okay, the
yeah,
last
so
one.
yes, last but not least, we've got the Virgo and Pisces is the axis of well-being. So I think of Virgo as physical health and your physical body, and Pisces as mental health and your spiritual body or spirituality. So if your North Node is in Virgo, you're probably someone who's connected, yeah, to the higher, like more tender parts of yourself. This is South Node in Pisces. They can be extremely sensitive and like careful not to want to cause any pain or hurt any feelings. So in a past life, people with North Node in Virgo spent some time like doing a lot of self-reflecting. And so they've learned how to kind of like tell their ego to take a back seat. So these are the people who in past lives spent time in meditation, maybe as a spiritual worker. And if that's the case, it could have there could have been a few different things have happened in their past lives, which I'll go through. But for example, if they were a spiritual worker in their past life, then in this lifetime, they're going to feel a need to find that spiritual connection again. So North Node in Virgo is looking for that spiritual connection or that connection to whatever. So it could also be that like in a past life, they had issues with addiction and escapism tendencies through drugs or alcohol. And so if that's the case, in this lifetime, they may continue to struggle with an addictive personality.
So do you feel that then with North Node in Virgo, they need to have a healthier, healthier life, like lifestyle, more balanced, healthier lifestyle in this life over in general?
Yes, 100%. So in this life, North Node in Virgo is kind of here to get out of that need for that just wanting that like that ultimate like emergence to something, or that like wanting or needing something so bad, like that addictive state, I guess. And they're here to really like bring order to chaos, which is Virgo's tagline. So someone with their North Node in Virgo is here to learn how to create routines, and they have to learn how to practice moderation and form boundaries. And that's really like a recurring theme for all South Node water signs, because they've spent so many past lives having no boundaries that they now have to learn like discernment, because water needs a container. And so on the flip side, if you're
that's a perfect analogy. I love it.
Yeah. So if your North Node is in Pisces, you're here to develop a pathway to spirituality, because in a past life, they were used to focusing on the body on a physical plane. So again, Pisces, South Node in Pisces was focusing on the body and like what felt good on like on a spiritual level. And Virgo focused on the physical plane. So these were the doctors and the surgeons, the nurses whose focus was to heal people physically. So they had to be very meticulous because their patient's life literally depended on it. So in this life, they carried all those like perfectionistic tendencies over with them, and they can literally get anxiety thinking about making a mistake and over analyzing a situation. South or North Node in Pisces can also be very critical of themselves and sometimes of other people. So in this lifetime, there's a need to develop compassion for others and themselves too. And like meditation can be very healing for someone with North Node in Pisces, because they need some sort of practice to help quiet their overactive mind.
Yeah.
And
that's my husband, and I completely agree. Yeah, he's trying. No, he's trying really. He's working on himself, but it's hard. I mean, as I said, guys, everything that Ashley said is 100% true. With all the people that I know in my life, we all struggle with going to that North Node. Oh, see, Celeste says she has North Node in Pisces. Yeah, yeah, it is hard because you kind of, and I think Ashley, what everything that you said today, this is like really, really important, and it was valuable, and it's really, really, really interesting. I really loved it. So I know it's almost 6, so I have to go, but I really appreciate your time and your knowledge and your insights, and everybody who was here with nice comments. And I really apologize for technical issues and me being in a car, but I just didn't want to miss this. And as I said in the beginning, I want to repeat it now. I love Ashley's energy. There's a passion for astrology. Go check her account, please, and follow her for more great insights. She's so passionate. Like, every time I hear her talk, I'm like, oh yeah, it just lifts me up. And that is so important, that what you do, that you have passion for it, and you obviously have knowledge. We just witnessed that. So thank you again for your time and for being my guest today. And I really appreciate it. And I hope I have to now redo myself, and we're gonna do this another time in better circumstances for sure, with another topic, because I can't.
Okay, well,
I'm a
thank you
Virgo
so much
rising.
for having me on your show. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
No, the pleasure is all mine, and my Virgo rising won't leave it at this. We'll have a redo one more time. Okay.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Thank you so
Okay,
much.
you
Thank you,
have a great
everybody.
rest of your night.
Yeah. Have a great, happy Thanksgiving to all of us, to all of you guys in the US. I'm in Canada. We
Happy
already had
Thanksgiving.
ours. Yeah. Bye, guys.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.